Hello and welcome to the Clock End Arsenal podcast. I'm your host Tez. You can get me at Guna Tez. Still, even though some people are looking at my account thinking, is he an Arsenal fan or a Roma fan? What's going on? So basically, yeah, I am a Roma fan and an Arsenal fan. So you can get Tony at @clockend_talk. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Obviously, Saturday was a very bright day for us. And yeah, just living life, high on life, as Schwinn would say, although he's usually high on other substances.
And Schwinn is back on the podcast. How are you, buddy? AFC Schwinn, isn't it?
It is. Good to be back. Good to be back with you both. The last time I made an appearance, it was me, Darren, and Tony, so we missed you that time, Tess. But good victory, good end to the season, and good to be in the same room with you guys.
Yeah, very good, very good. And we'll get on to that now. FA Cup victory, boys, when not many people thought that we were going to get the victory except me. I was confident all the way through, so I'll put that victory down to... I can't remember what I said, to be honest. But, hey, on the final, boys, I was looking at odds previously of the game, and I know we were definitely dogs, so I was very happy with the result, obviously, like many Arsenal fans. And it's a good cherry on top for a shitty season, Tony.
Yeah, I was one of the people that thought we had no chance, to be honest. I couldn't see how we was going to win the game, but Chelsea played completely different from how I expected them to. And also, I think, completely different from how they should have. But that's not my problem. And my only concern sort of during the game with the way Chelsea was playing is stopping Jorginho. I think the way they played, if you stop Jorginho, you win the game. And we pretty much done that apart from 2 or 3 moments, and they happened to be the 2 or 3 times they created chances. But yeah, it gave us no chance, obviously, buzzing that I was wrong. I'm not one of these that after times and takes pride in always being right when they've changed their mind after something's happened. No dig there, Tell. But okay. Great day, solid performance. I was actually thinking before we go too deep into the game that like our summer signings have got quite a lot of stick for various times of the season and for different reasons. But if you look at who played well, Luiz was excellent, Tierney was excellent, Ceballos was excellent, and Pepe was excellent. So you've got the 4 players that have all been criticised at various times, as I said, for different reasons, that have all, I'm not going to say single-handedly won us a cup, but they've all played a huge role in lifting a trophy.
Schwinn, your thoughts on it all, mate?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I think we all can agree that City was the tougher challenge in the ascendancy to this game. And having gone through that hurdle, initially, the emotion was of feeling motivated, looking forward to this game, and a bit of relief that we'd put that behind us. But I'd be lying if I said that an hour before the game I wasn't a bag of nerves, because it was getting to that time where the lineups were about to be announced, the ball was about to be kicked off shortly, and I was starting to feel the pressure. I think for some reason, however, not having crowds allowed into the stadiums doesn't quite get me that anxious. I feel like if I could hear those oohs, those ahs that we can often hear on the telly, that you sort of, get married to that emotion in the moment, which didn't happen during the game. But when Alba stepped up to take that penalty, oh God, I was praying to all the gods that I'm aware of that he puts it in the back of the net, and I think that. I was just
gonna say that you're saying like, oh, you wasn't as nervous when there's literally a picture of you on Instagram on your knees praying as we're about to take the penalty, and you're not praying, and you're praying to anyone like Yoda, God, Vishnu. You didn't care at that point. Like anyone that could make that ball go in, you'll pray to that guy.
Yeah, whoever was willing to hear me at that point, I was praying to them.
When the lineups come out, Tony, I thought it was a very strong lineup. My only worry was holding, I guess, but other than that, I was quite happy.
For me, the only question was who played at left wing back. Obviously, I was in the group chat just before, and that was pretty much what I said. In an ideal world, I personally think Ainsley's better than Hector. So there was, in a strongest 11 for me, I may have gone Ainsley right back and right wing back, and Saka left wing back. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. I thought 10 of the team were very easy to name, and then it was just who you go over at left wing back, and I was happy to see Ainsley there. I think he's defensively a lot better than Saka and a bit quicker. So if you are going to play on the break, which is what we was expected to do, then his pace helps. Obviously, Saka's delivery is a lot better, and it being left-footed helps him put in better crosses from that side. There was a couple of times where Ainsley got in behind and struggled because he had to chop back. But I think defensively and pace-wise, Ainsley was the way to go.
So I wasn't too concerned about that. Obviously, my main two worries were, obviously holding.
He had to play.
That's where you think that and you say that. But I actually thought Socrates might get a run. I thought FA Cup final, he's sitting on the bench and obviously he came on late. But I thought which tells me now Socrates is definitely gone. He's leaving.
If he'll go, I think he said in an interview, I'm not sure, I've read a headline, I don't know if it was quoted or some twat making it up, but I've read an interview of him saying he's going to stay his final year and sort of fight for his place. Arteta just doesn't trust him with the ball. And look, Holding's not fantastic with the ball, but he is better than Socrates. So, as I said, I think 10 of the lineup picked itself for that reason. I think Holding was always going to play. In our strongest 11, would I have picked him? No, to be honest. I'd have picked Mustafi ahead of him. But given what we had, I personally thought 10 of them picked themselves.
Was Mustafi injured or?
Yeah, he's out till October, November.
Yeah, that's right. Seems like so long ago. Tony Schwinn, your thoughts on all the lineup and things?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I expected Saka to be in the lineup instead of Maitland-Niles. I mean, full disclosure, I haven't watched much of the Arsenal ever since the resumption. So I hadn't considered the possibility of AMN playing on the right and Hector sitting this one out, at least on the bench. So that was my perhaps only confusion at the beginning. But having listened to you guys, what about Kolasinac? I mean, the games I've watched us play in this back three and Kolasinac the left center back position. Did you guys ever consider that?
That was my other. That was my other second one. I'm glad we went the way we did because I was umming and ahhing thinking, is he going to put Kolasinac in? That was my other worry.
A worry, you say? Because I mean, from what I've seen, and I've not, as I said, I've not watched all of our games since the resumption, but from what I've seen him play there, he's been pretty sturdy and confident in the ball. No surprises or shocks there to see him getting left out for either of you.
I mean, for me, Tierney is both better with the ball and defensively and in every aspect of anything football related apart from strength. So, for me, it was almost a no-brainer. I think Kolasinac still has the same flaws he's always had. You can never say, I trust this guy. And you're in a cup final. I think you'd rather put the name of the guy you trust on the team sheet than a guy that can potentially play well. Look, let's not pretend he's been bad every game, but you're in a one-off game and you want the guy you can trust.
Okay. So, look, do you boys really, do you want to just give some rough thoughts and thoughts on the game? I know it was a couple of days ago and there's been umpteen different podcasts coming out and talk about the game since. I wasn't going to break the game down too much, Tony, but obviously people want to hear your take on it all, so, and then we can get into other stuff.
Yeah. So I said before the game that a key aspect, and obviously I just mentioned it before, would be, I presumed Lacazette sticking on Jorginho. He's one of them players, he's frustrating because he's not great, but if you don't stop him, he dictates the game. So you kind of have to accommodate for him, even though he's not brilliant. It's not like you look at, say, a Kevin De Bruyne and you go, we have to stop him because he's fucking fantastic. And you look at Jorginho, and it's kind of like, well, we have to stop him just because, not because he's going to hurt us, but what he gives them. And we started off not doing that at all, whether you can blame Lacazette or whether it wasn't in the plans. And it was killing us in the first 10 minutes. Jorginho had all the time in the world. First goal comes from him indirectly. He starts to move. And then after 10 minutes, we kind of changed. But it wasn't Lacazette that done the job, which surprised me. The midfielders pushed up, which was brave. And that could have cost... That was a make or break decision because you're pushing Ceballos and Xhaka higher up on Jorginho and Kovacic, which leaves that space in behind, and it could have killed us. Or it's a genius move. Obviously, it turned out to be a genius move, but that was one thing that made a huge difference. I don't think Chelsea expected Maitland-Niles to get forward as much as he did. He was running in behind early, and there was just no one tracking him. I think they thought Reece James would be able to push him back, and I think they got quite a shock when it was the other way around. What really worried me before the game, and I mentioned it on here last week, not that anyone could hear me, was that against City and Liverpool, when we played this way, we kind of let them have the ball out wide and cross it, knowing that our centre-backs are better in the air and bigger than they are. And I was worried about Giroud. I don't think Chelsea put a cross in all game at sort of head height or above, apart from corners when you've got everyone back. I thought it was really weird because I think most Arsenal fans thought the way that Chelsea would beat us would be using that ball wide, getting it in, and Giroud being stronger in the air than our centre-backs. And they just didn't play like that, which really, really shocked me. I mean, for me, and I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm sure there's going to be questions, but for me, Azpilicueta should have been sent off. If they said that he stayed on because Rudiger was covering, or Zuma, whoever it was, I think it was Rudiger, I don't quite agree, but I could kind of half go, okay, I can see where you're coming from. The reason they've given is that Azpilicueta was going for the ball. I mean, the ball was on the floor and he was hanging off Aubameyang's neck. Is ridiculous. For me, that was a red. And I was also disappointed when he pulled his hamstring, because even though I rate him, I think he's very, very good. Aubameyang was all over him. He didn't have a clue whether he was coming or going. He was struggling. I think he would have got sent off anyway. I was actually gutted when he got injured, and I usually wouldn't be because I do rate him. And then, yeah, I think we just pretty much move on to our second goal, and you can use a million words to describe it. I'm just going to say it was class. There's, as you said, a million podcasts would have gone over it in a million different ways, but the goal's fantastic. And as we scored, it just makes you think we have to keep him. And it looks like all the news we're hearing is that he will sign. But you see him do things like that, and you're like, we have to keep this guy. We cannot allow him to go. Beyond that, I think the only other incident is the red card. And look, it isn't a red card. You've got to make that clear from the start. But I can completely see why the referees give it. Remember, he gets one look, and Kovacic has come in at pace from a distance and then made a foul. I don't think anyone's really arguing it was a foul. It's a soft foul. And so in the ref side, you've got someone they always, when a player sprints into a tackle, the punishment is always worse than a standing still tackle. It shouldn't be, but that's just the way it is. And I'll admit, on first viewing, when I watched it, I was sort of like, oh, he has to go. For me, it was a no-brainer on live viewing. And when he booked Ceballos, I was like, what? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
this is a red card.
But keep in mind, it was 2 yellows which forced the red.
Yeah, I know, but seeing it back, I mean, it's never a second booking. It just isn't. But,
okay. So you're saying it shouldn't have even been a yellow?
No, it wasn't. I don't think I know anyone that thinks it was a yellow. But as I said, on first viewing, which is all the ref gets, and I'm not defending Anthony Taylor because he is shit, and as I said, I think he should have sent Azpilicueta off in the first half. But I can completely see why he gave the second yellow, even though it was wrong. And I know now everyone's saying, oh, it was never a yellow. I knew it at the time. But I can tell you in the group chat at the time, when I read back after, every person was like sort of dumbfounded when it looked like he wasn't going to get sent off. But yeah, in hindsight, we can say it was an error, not one I particularly care about because it went in our favour. But I can completely see why it was given.
Yeah. I had a couple of people ring up, but I didn't accept them, and I'll take some live calls soon. Nick was ringing on through the app, so Nick, I'll ask for you guys to call through, and you guys can have your thoughts on the game or any questions you want to ask the boys. So, in the meantime, though, we'll get Schwen, your take on it all, mate.
I mean, look, Tony did a very good job of sort of summarising the key moments. I did feel, however, at the beginning of the game that Chelsea started really well. Mount and what's the other guy? Pulisic did really well to give our defenders something to think about. They were tight, they were in between the lines, and our central backs didn't quite know how to deal with it. And that showed. I think Mount had an early attempt on goal when Xhaka got caught on the ball. And then, of course, Pulisic somehow sorts his feet out and puts one in the net. Having said that, I think the turning point in the game came about when Pepe put one back in the net, but was correctly ruled offside. I don't quite remember whether that was before or after the water break, but I think 15, 20 minutes into the game, it was all one-way traffic. And Tony's absolutely spot on that they didn't quite utilize Giroud, which they really could have. That man has class in the box, and it seems like they didn't quite recognize that. But I think the rest of what I want to say is simply about the manager. Tony touched upon this very briefly at the top of the show, that players who have run into some sort of trouble with the manager for one reason or the other, David Luiz, Maitland-Niles, Ceballos, they all performed so admirably on the day, and arguably didn't put a foot wrong in the game. I mean, Tierney's ball over the top to find Aubameyang that leads to the penalty is spot on, and even the interplay in the lead up to that, the way we moved the ball close to our area and got out of those tight situations, pulling the Chelsea players in so that we can then create the space in behind, and then Tierney finding that pass. Beautiful, sublime football there. And then we just didn't stop. We gave them something to think about on every occasion. Their defense just couldn't cope with the movement. Aubameyang, always ready, always available. Pepe had an amazing game. At the front and at the back, he was a workhorse that day, and I think he kept going to the very end. Strength, pace, agility, all on display on the day. And I think he had perhaps one of his best games in an Arsenal shirt. But really what it comes down to is that trust from the manager and the availability in his own Arsenal to make those in-game changes, to allow for our wing-backs to go that far up or come into those half spaces in the midfield and allow for width and allow for options. And Chelsea just didn't have a clue as to what to do. They were bamboozled. They didn't quite know where to be in certain moments. We moved very well in pairs, creating those options and those triangles, always had an out ball, but we're also willing to just clear the ball in moments if we just want to get rid of the danger. So very smart, practical football, saw what they can do to us early in the game, made those quick adjustments, stood up to them, and then, of course, that Aubameyang goal at the end it's got shades of that Messi goal when he put Boateng on the ground. Zuma didn't quite fall just like that, but he might as well would have. And then that shift. When we got Aubameyang, I remember we did that show with that Dortmund fan, and he told us that he loves chipping goalkeeper, and I think this might be one of his best in an Arsenal shirt.
Good summary, boys. I just want to make mention, because I haven't really heard much about Arteta, and I said it after the City game, this bloke's the real deal. I'm excited for what's going to happen next season. I'm excited. We went down 1-0 in the 5th minute, and I thought, we're in for a long day here. This is going to be a long, long 90 minutes. But to come back from 1-0 down, and he got the boys, their head was right. What he says on the touchline, what he's saying in game to these players, lift your head, boys. I guess it's it's all positive shit, and I like that. I think he's the real deal. To be honest, and next season, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what he brings. I'm looking forward to him having an actual full off season with the boys, a full preparation coming up, and hopefully we do bring in some extra players, because I think this Arsenal team, it has been a shit year, boys, and the FA Cup, winning the FA Cup finally, as I said at the start, it's the real cherry on top for me, but let's not go into next season thinking this Arsenal team is going to win a league or get a top four. I do think we need, a few more to come in, and I hope he sorts out the Guendouzi thing in the off, in the couple of weeks that we've got in the off season. I hope he wraps up Ceballos on another loan for another season, and obviously Aubameyang. I seen in a conversation the boys were having in the WhatsApp group, last night regarding Aubameyang, and you've seen it with Ozil, when he signed a contract. Though people are saying, sign this guy for whatever it takes, and I agree, sign him for whatever it takes. But don't sit there and say in 2 years' time we overpaid him, because that's exactly what a lot of Arsenal fans are doing now with Ozil. Everyone wanted. And I'm getting away from the game a little bit, but everybody wanted when Ozil. Do you remember when he was negotiating? Sanchez was out the door, and we were everybody that I was talking to. Give Ozil exactly what he wants. I don't care what it costs. So let's not, let's just enjoy it for what it is. And look, it's not our money. We don't pay the wages, so. If they give Aubameyang whatever, they give him whatever. But let's just enjoy it for what it is, and I hope that Arteta turns his team into a top four, and I think he will in the next couple of years. So. Have you boys? Right, we're going to do some season previews and predictions.
Just before we move on, I just saw Tash said could the sending off be for an accumulation? I don't know. The first time I saw anyone mention that was I saw one person mention it on Twitter yesterday. I don't remember him committing a lot of fouls. Usually you sort of remembering how many times we said, oh, fucking hell, he's made 6 fouls, 7 fouls. Yeah, I don't sort of remember anyone talking about that. And usually they get a final warning as well, unless it's like a sort of a really bad foul to get their second yellow. And again, I didn't see that. So maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't get the feeling at the time. And as I said, I've not seen anyone else really mention it. The other thing I wanted to say before we move on from the FA Cup final, and I'm interested to hear your two answers. Can we just do a quick 3-2-1?
Oh, yeah. Go on, Sean.
I mean, I don't know how else to start, but 3 has to go to Aubameyang. 2 goals, winner, nerves of steel, and of course that class finish at the end. So 3 goes there. My heart wants to give 2 to Emi Martinez for what he's been through, and that sort of goes away from the game. But I'll sink in and just give the 2 to him. And
for his one save.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's an emotional decision. And especially seeing him, at the end of the game with the trophy, with him being on suspected video call with his family, I guess. And for everything he's been through, I'll give him the 2. And the 1, Granit Xhaka, Dani Ceballos. I mean, there's so many contenders. But I'll go with Granit Xhaka, especially because even when we look at the red card, I think we've always given him credit for many things. But the one thing that's always stood out is how well he shields the ball. One thing he does really well in addition to that is how he sells fouls to the officials. And I think the Kovacic second yellow was also sort of a reason of that, because Xhaka did really well to assess the way Kovacic was coming in, made a right meal of it, and evidently so. So I'll go with Xhaka for the 1.
Just quickly, Tony, and the reason I palmed off the Schwinn, it wasn't due to accumulation of the yellow cards. He's only had 3 since January, so I just thought I'd
yellow card
on that, clear that up.
Addition of fouls in the game.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. I was just looking. I was interested in how many yellows actually he did have too.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make a difference from a single game.
Yeah. 3-2-1. Oh, Aubameyang, you got to give you 3 to. I'd say 2 to a Pepe, and Ceballos or Granit. Probably some 1 to Ceballos.
Yeah, see, this is why I was interested to see what you think, because Aubameyang has to get 3 because he's the match winner. But how many times he said? For me, Ceballos was the best player on the pitch, but when your guy wins your games, you give him the free. And we say that about Aubameyang so often that I'm not even going to bother trying to explain it anymore. So Aubameyang gets my free, 2 for Ceballos. As I said, I think he was the best player on the pitch by a distance. And 1 for Pepe, as Swin said earlier, is one of his better games for us. He was a menace in attack. He'd done his defensive duties well. But, I mean, I'm more bringing it up because of Ceballos, because for me, he was comfortably the best player on the pitch. But it seems a real, like...
nothing on the stats, that's the only thing.
Not even that. I fully understand why everyone's giving the Aubameyang the free as I am, but it's been a weird one because everyone I've spoke to has either gone, yep, Ceballos was amazing, best player on the pitch, I agree with you, or I must have been watching a different game. I thought he was bang average. I've spoke to a few people who I go to football with regularly, or I speak to enough about football who their opinions are I mean, like, everyone's opinion's valid, but some people are more valid than others. And these are people I speak to regularly. I mean, Schwinn knows both of them actually, and both of them have gone like, "Oh, I thought Ceballos was shit," and I'm watching it thinking he was everywhere. He was fucking amazing. And I think I put in the group after the game that he was the best player on the pitch, but not the man of the match. And most people agreed. But I just wanted to see what you two think and on his performance, really, because as I said, it's been so split from the people I spoke to.
Yeah, no, I thought he was really good. And the only reason Pepe got my 2, obviously, I thought Pepe was probably his better game. Obviously, he got the assist as well. But I was just looking at Ceballos' stats. And, like, if you looked at Ceballos alone, just on stats, and this is where I often wonder, like, what people watch, because if you looked at, and this is when I say what people watch, like, I agree with everything you said, Tony. I think he had a brilliant game. But you look at his stats, and if people look at his stats, they think, "What do you mean, boys? There's no shots on target. There's no goal. There's no assist. There's a couple of good passes, a couple of accurate. You know what I mean? Like, his stats do not say he had a great game.
Yeah, but you're looking at a player.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, but you're looking at the wrong stats, because to use the Einstein comment, if you rate a fish on how well it can climb a tree, you're going to think it's shit. Like, I'm paraphrasing there. Einstein did not say that. But
I was going to say, did Einstein really say that?
Well, I mean, I put it in 2020 language, but yeah, basically. You don't look at how many saves Aubameyang made. Like, for me, I don't know the stats. I don't look at stats, but I would imagine his distance covered, his heat map would have been very good, his pass completion would have been very good, and the amount of recoveries would have been very good, which are his jobs. There's no point looking at, look, goals and assists are nice, of course, and if you had more of them, we'd all be celebrating them. But when you're looking at a one-off performance, you can't go, he didn't score or get an assist, so he can't have been good.
Oh no, I'm just putting it out there on why other people are probably saying.
Yeah, but then they're looking at the wrong numbers. And to be fair, as I said, the people I spoke to, they said it straight after the game, before any stats are really produced. And I know they're not people based on stats. As I said, they're people I speak to and go to games with regularly. But I've seen a few people say it, so I was just wondering what everyone's thoughts were, really.
Yeah. Okay, what do we got? If anyone wants to call in before we move on to the next segment, feel free. It's open now. So I think Nick was calling earlier. Tash, I see you there, buddy. You going to call? What? Got your tongue, mate. Then we'll go to Nick's calling now. So we'll go to Nick. Nick, how are you, buddy?
Oh, mate, how's it going?
Yeah, good, mate, good. What do you got?
Obviously, Saturday was absolutely, I don't know, I didn't really expect it, to be honest. I mean, same as a City game, I think if it wasn't an FA Cup game, I wouldn't have been confident, but something about the FA Cup with us, for some reason, I just thought, yeah, we'll do it. And obviously we did. But, I think just in general, in terms of like next season, I think we've just got to be very ruthless now. And I think, some of the players we've got personal connections with that we really like, I think we've just got to bite the bullet now and say, look, they're not good enough. let's get them gone. Like, for example, someone like Rob Holding, I've always been a big fan of, but if you're talking about getting top four, someone like Rob Holding's got to go. It's the same with a lot of players in that squad that I love. I've always loved Lacazette, but if someone actually comes in and says, here's 50, here's 60 million pounds, I think we've got to sit there and say, look, unfortunately, if we're looking at going forward, we could use that 60 million pounds to get a really good centre-back. It's one of those things. It's like we're in like a situation now where, for me, the first time, I'm 22, it's the first time in my lifetime I've actually looked at a manager and thought, okay, I actually trust this guy in terms of like rebuilding and going forward and maybe becoming like a big force again. So I think, we've got to actually really look at the squad now and think, unfortunately, these guys have been great servants. Someone like Hector Bellerin, another example, again, I thought he was sensational in that cup final. But, if someone comes in and says, here's 25, here's 30 million pounds, we've got to take that and we've got to sell him and put it towards like a world-class centre-back or a world-class sort of central midfielder or something like that.
You mentioned centre-back twice. My only issue there is I think, David Luiz, love him or hate him, he is there. And keep in mind, we're bringing in this young Saliba, like people are saying good things there. Are you worried about the midfields a little bit? Because that's where I'd be looking to strengthen next season.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for me, a perfect transfer window, like realistically, would be another centre-back, a number, sort of like a deep midfielder, and then like a number 10 or like a number 8. I know the sort of number 10 role is almost a bit extinct now, so maybe we'd need like a number 8 or something like that. But no, the reason I say centre-back is obviously Saliba's coming in. I can't sit here and say I've watched him because I haven't. But I've read a lot of good things about him, and that's great. But the issue is with someone like Saliba is you need him to come in and learn off someone who's a top centre-back, not an experienced centre-back. David Luiz, yes, objectively he's an experienced centre-back because of his age and what he's won, but he's not a top centre-back. Like we need to be realistic here and say, if Saliba's this really good prospect, which is, you can't be a top player if you're that age. You're only a prospect. Like, you have to be able to learn off players. And unfortunately for me, Saliba's not going to turn into a top centre-back if he's playing next to David Luiz or Mustafi or Rob Holding or, Pablo Mari. It's got to be someone who's a top centre-back. So for me, we've got to bite the bullet. And for me, I think we have to buy another centre-back who's got the mix of experience, but also being a top centre-back. Because I think for me, the word experienced is so sort of, it's like a buzzword. It's so abused nowadays. David Luiz might be experienced in the sense of that he's old and, he's been at a few different clubs and he's won things. But it doesn't matter. I'd rather have a 23-year-old centre-back who's not going to get sent off 5 times in a season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to ask you, though, look, I love Tony Adams, and a lot of people know that Tony Adams for me was the bee's knees when it comes to defenders. But is Tony Adams coaching now, and things like that? So is he passing his trade on? I don't know. Because he might. What I'm getting at is Tony Adams mightn't be that good a coach, but he was a brilliant player. And David Luiz, okay, he's experienced. He might not be the best of players, as others are out there, but when it comes to coaching, he may be a brilliant coach. That's my only thing on that. Don't ride off of David Luiz to take this young kid under your arm.
No, of course. I mean, I get in terms of the fact he's sort of 33 years old, he'll put his arm around players, etc., etc. But it's like, Van Dijk, for example, he signed for Liverpool when he was 26 years old, and he, literally took them single-handedly, in my opinion, from a top 4 sort of, we might scrape 4th, to the best team in world football. I think, nowadays it's all about that defensive, who you've got in defence. And for me, David Luiz, he might be a good coach. He might be a good sort of motivator. I'm not saying get rid of Luiz. I'm just saying,
yeah.
if we need someone to to play next to him. David Luiz might be a great person to like mentor him, but in terms of someone playing next to him, I don't know how old Saliba is. I think he's 19 years old. For someone to actually play next to him, physically 38 game league season, to actually stand next to him, battle with him, play with him every single game. For me, Luiz might be great mentoring him, so maybe sign him on another year deal for that reason, but for me, we have to go out there and sign like a 50, 60 million pound centre-back who's actually going to do more than just speak in the dressing room. Because, for me, I can think of 4 or 5 games this season that David Luiz has single-handedly lost us, and and for me, it's as simple as if Chelsea Football Club, an arch rival, are going to give us a footballer, then they're clearly not good enough. Petr Cech, you look at Petr Cech, Chelsea gave us Petr Cech and everyone's like, what a signing. He was, he wasn't good for Arsenal, let's be honest. People said when we signed him, he's going to win us 15 points a season. He didn't, he never did. He let us down more often than he didn't. And I think we're in that position now where as a club, we've got to actually finally just be ruthless now, not be nice, it's like the Willian thing. Willian is a good footballer. He's a great footballer. I think for the next year or year and a half, he'd be a great footballer. But we can't be making the same mistakes as we did with Ozil and giving Willian, for example, a 3 or 4 year deal on 200 grand a week, because in a year and a half's time, he's going to be 33 years old. It's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I understand your point, and I understand a lot of people are talking about the Williams. For me, and we're talking about this a little bit in the chat last night, is I wouldn't mind Willian, Coutinho, and Partey.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, because then you're building around. And there's this other young bloke from Sporting Lisbon. So I'm like, well, he's 17, this kid. So I'm just and that's what I read. I'm no fucking I'm a bloke in Australia, so I've got absolutely no idea. But that's what I read, is these players have been linked with us. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't mind that, because there's a little bit of young, there's a little bit of experience.
That's the thing. To be honest, I agree with you there. If we were to get Partey and Coutinho and then get Willian, that's fine, because for me, a winger isn't our priority at the moment. Our priority is a centre-back, and then sort of like a number 10 or a number 8 like Coutinho, and then number 6 like Partey. And then we can look at maybe getting a winger. But for me personally, I think another centre-back is definitely our priority, because at the end of the day, you look at how competitive the top 4 is now, and I'm not just talking about Chelsea, United, City, Liverpool, Spurs. I'm talking about Leicester, Sheffield United, Wolves. If Newcastle somehow get this takeover, done somehow, teams like that, you've got to look at, you will not get top 4 with your centre-backs being David Luiz, Socrates, Rob Holding, Pablo Mari. It's just not going to happen. When I actually look at the Premier League, Norwich finished bottom of the table. Would they actually swap out any of their first centre backs for any of ours? I actually don't know if they would. I genuinely don't know if they would. And I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but I don't think Daniel Farke, the Norwich manager, would snap your hand off if you said, we'll give you Mustafi for one of your centre. I really don't think they would. I really don't think they would, honestly. And that's right.
Tony, I'm going to go to you, mate, for a bit of your thoughts on what Nick's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few good points. A few I agree with, a few I disagree with. You started off by saying about loyalty to players, and to be honest, I agree with you, but the only thing I disagree with you said is now is the time that we should stop caring about favouritism. To be honest, and look, I'm guilty of it, especially with Jack. That should never have been the case. I've been saying this about people with Lacazette for years, that they like him because he's Lacazette. Forget the name on the back of the shirt. Like him for what he's doing on the pitch. And if you think that's good enough, that's fine. But that has been a problem for a while, and I completely agree with you. I disagree with you on the centre-back thing quite strongly, and I think you half contradicted yourself by saying, well, look at you said, they need to play with someone brilliant to become brilliant. Van Dijk played with Rabsy Nesbitt in Scotland and Maya Yoshida, and is probably the best centre-back on earth. Koulibaly, who people would probably have as the second best on earth, don't know who he's played with up up until he made it to the name he is now. Sergio Ramos would be up there for a lot of people who I know he's starting for Real Madrid at 19. The fuck knows who he was starting with. I can't remember. Like if I watched the game and someone said the name, I go, oh yeah, probably. But it wasn't a name that you'd go, oh fucking yeah, amazing, what a partnership. Like you look historically, John Terry didn't only get good when he started playing with Carvalho. He was good way before that when Chelsea had no money and he was playing with Dan Petrescu. Rio Ferdinand was at West Ham and Leeds with Dominic Matteo. Like, I think who they learn off is more important than who they play with, because you can play with someone really good that can cover your mistakes, and then you're without them for whatever reason, and then suddenly are you that good? Like people rave about Joe Gomez, and from what I see of him, I agree. I think he's really good, but Van Dijk sweeps for him and does a lot of the aerial work for him. When Van Dijk's out the team, how good is Joe Gomez? Liverpool have been lucky; they don't get many injuries, so we don't know. And I'd want to avoid that with Saliba. I think learning is more important than your partnership in a sense. But if I am to go with your point, which I disagree with, but I can understand where you're coming from. You say 50, 60 million on a centre-back, a top centre-back for him to play with. And if I agreed with you, fuck putting a name on that, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't know where to start.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, like, I'm not the one to sit here and say I watch European football and stuff. I don't. But, you know, I'm sure... I mean, again, this goes on to another issue in terms of, like, recruitment. You know, people... It's like the banner that flew over the Villa game the other week, the whole, like, back Arteta. For me, I don't think the problem with Kroenke is backing at all. I think we've spent a lot of money under Kroenke. The reason why Kroenke's a bad owner is the fact he hasn't employed football people at the club to actually recruit people well, to sort of recruit players well, deal with contracts well. You look at all the contracts we've, you know, dealt with finance well. You know, he hasn't recruited people well. The issue is, you know, for me, if you'd say to me, oh, okay, you've got £6 million to spend on a centre-back, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know who the fuck we can sign, because I don't know any good centre-backs in Europe. I don't watch European football, but what I'm saying is, you know, you look at Liverpool, how they've spent, because they've spent very similar to us in terms of they've sold to buy, but they've always recruited very, very well. But the thing with us is, with, like, you know, our ownership and Kroenke and stuff, they don't hire football people in there to actually pick these big names.
I think that's a bit unfair when you've got Edu, who was obviously a player and ran the Brazilian national team setup essentially, and then you've got Raul Sanllehi, who basically ran everything behind the scenes at Barcelona. If you'd have said this comment 2 years ago or pre-Sven sign-in, I would have completely agreed with you. But I think now, presently, that's a bit unfair.
No, I think Raul's done well, but he's also not done great at the same time. You know.
No, but whether he's done well or not is not the point. Kroenke's put in a football person. He's got who he thinks is the best person for the job. And looking from the outside, especially when he signed, a lot of us would have agreed with that. It's like when you buy a player. When we signed Ozil, we thought we had the best player for the job. So you can't blame him for it not working out the way you wanted it. I more
mean sort of since the day he joined, in the sense of, you know, for example, we gave, you know, Wenger in, you know, people say the whole we haven't spent money thing, yet Wenger in 15-16 spent 100 mil on Xhaka, Mustafi and Perez. It's like, you know, that's the same summer Chelsea bought Kante for 30 mil, Liverpool bought Salah for 32 mil. It's like, you know...
as I said, if you'd have said this 2-3 years ago, I'd have completely agreed with you. I think it's an unfair criticism now. And also, two of those three were Stats DNA signings, which was a system obviously put in place by Gazidis. And again, he was a problem. But and he wasn't naturally a football person. He's apparently a very good businessman. He's not a football man. But I don't think that's a criticism that can be laid at now.
I don't know though, because I'm very anti-Kroenke criticism in like a backing sense, because I think if you actually look objectively, he has backed us. He has given us a lot of money. But again, if we're criticising Gazidis for the Stats DNA thing, then that also lies at Kroenke, because why is he at the club being allowed to make these decisions?
I think there was tons of criticisms and fair criticism of Kroenke pre-sole ownership. Mm-hmm. Since sole ownership, I personally, and I say this on here quite a lot, I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think a lot of the criticism is, one, because he's not at games, which I find ironic, because if I say to someone, "Oh, you're not at a game, so my opinion's better than yours," they get upset. Obviously, I don't say that, and I don't believe that. But if I said that to someone, they get upset. But then they go, "Oh, Kroenke's not there. He's a shit owner," because they see Mike Ashley in the stand.
Yeah.
Newsflash: Newcastle fans fucking hate Mike Ashley. I think since sole ownership, I personally I can't criticise a single thing he's done.
And plus, obviously, his son does go to games. To be fair to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a few games a season. People want to see someone there with an Arsenal tattoo on their face, swinging the shirt around their head.
Yeah, but it's 2020.
Look, it's never going to happen. I'm telling you what people want. I agree with you. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's what if you say to people now, what are your criticisms? They'll say funding, which, as I said, I agree with you. I completely disagree with them saying, and then they'll go, "Oh, he's not at games." That's the second. "Oh, he's never there." So fucking what different? It's not like a Roman emperor that tells you when to put someone down, or like whether he's there or not don't make a bit of difference.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, him being there or not isn't their issue. Because at the end of the day, if we were to win a quadruple, they wouldn't give a shit if Kroenke was at 1 or 38 of the games because we'd have won the quadruple. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no.
Fair enough. Look, I'm going to have to wrap this up, Nick. And but this is an interesting topic to have down the track for sure, mate. So I appreciate your call, buddy, and appreciate all your support and listening to the podcast, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Okay. I won't take another call because that was good. Nick made some great points there, but we've been going for 50 minutes and I have to move on, otherwise we're going to be here all day. Rick said just quickly in the comments, I'd be surprised if we sign another centre half. We have centre backs coming out of our arse. We'll definitely need to unload a couple first. I agree. Yeah, you got to unload a few.
It's interesting. We've been strongly linked with that Gabriel, and I'm not going to butcher his second name, the Brazilian guy from Lille. Been strongly linked with him today, and we've been linked with him before. I wouldn't be surprised to see one come in, but I think a few will go out.
Wasn't there another guy, some Saar dude? Was he?
He's on a free, Malang Sarr, yeah.
Oh.
I think I said last week, if we stay at the back five, he's definitely an option. But Gabriel is left-footed, or he plays on the left side at least. So it would suit a back four because at the moment we've got no one, or a back four or five, to be honest, because he's a left-sided centre-back and he could also play left of a free and naturally left-footed.
Okay, and Island Boy Gunner, lol, I totally with Tony on this one. I presume it was about the Kroenke thing. So, okay, so yeah, that's good. Took one call. That was good though. Now we're going to move on to our season predictions. So back in August of 2019, which feels like a fucking long time ago, we come up with some season predictions.
Has it got a date on it? Has it got a date on it?
Yeah.
What date is it? What date?
August 12th. 2019.
Okay. So we're a week away from it being a year.
I said it was close to a year. So Tony, Premier League winner.
I said this. I said last week to you that I vaguely remember us being horrendous. Like so this is going to be. You know what? We're going to lose so many listeners because they're going to be like, "Oh, these guys talk every week about what they think's happened, and they come out with this nonsense." I know my shit. I remember some of them. And I'm just like, what was I talking about?
Well, let's start with Schwinn, Golden Boot winner.
I didn't say that.
Alexis Sanchez.
That was a fucking classic. Okay, now we'll go Tony. Premier League winner, he had Manchester City. I had Manchester City. And Schwinn had Manchester City. It's not too bad, boys. Close.
Not too bad. You're wrong. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, no one remembers who comes second. Top four, Tony, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, and obviously Man City.
50%.
Yeah. I had Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Man City. 50%. Oh, where did Tottenham finish?
Sixth.
Seventh or something, yeah. Okay. Schwinn had Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, same as me. What else we got? Top six, Chelsea, Manchester United thrown in with that. And
well, I was right.
Tony,
I was right. They came in the top six.
I said Chelsea, Everton.
Well,
Where'd
you're very
Everton
wrong.
finish? Oh, it was
300.
Wasn't it? And Schwinn was Manchester United, Chelsea. Relegation. Tony, Brighton. Sheffield United, Norwich. How wrong on Sheffield United?
Do you know, it's even like after they were mathematically safe, I was still watching Brighton thinking they're going to go down. Like, it was impossible for them to go down, and I was still watching them thinking, how the fuck are you in the Premier League?
I said Newcastle, Sheffield United, Norwich. Jeez, well, how wrong were we on Sheffield United? Fuck.
I know, I think they're in everyone's as well.
Schwinn was Aston Villa, Newcastle, Norwich. So no,
Okay, so they didn't have Sheffield United. No, I think Bournemouth.
Did you really say those three? Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, you've arguably done the best. Like, I mean, we've all got 1 out of 3, but yours are closer. Do you know? I genuinely believe, and maybe it's just because I think they're shit. I think Brighton would have gone down if there wasn't the COVID stuff, because I think they'd lost 11 in a row or something stupid. They were on the brink, and then they came back, and their first 2 games they beat us and drew with Leicester, and we were in really good form going into that break. And I think it's fair to say you'd probably have expected us to beat them had there not been that break. And then if you don't get the point against Leicester, suddenly you're in trouble. But then they got them 2 results, and then they had a few strong results off the back of that. I'm not trying to justify myself, but basically I'm right.
I'll just let you dig your own hole, mate. Tony,
I mean, I'll say them again next year as well, just because I really don't rate them.
You're saying Juventus will win the Champions League? Runner-up Barcelona?
That's because I just never back against Ronaldo.
Yeah, righto.
How can you?
I've said Barcelona and Juventus as well. Winner Barcelona, runner-up Juventus. And Schwinner said winner Juventus, runner-up Atletico Madrid.
So we're all in the hat.
We're all there, boys. We're all there. Europa League winner, I've said Arsenal. Tony said Arsenal. Runner-up Manchester United.
Yeah.
I've said Arsenal, Roma for the runner-up. Schwinn has said... no. Hang on.
Oh.
No. Fuck, seems so long ago.
It was so long ago.
Yeah. I don't think they are.
I have no idea, mate. I couldn't care less, to be honest.
Yeah. Winner Arsenal, runner-up Napoli for Schwinn.
Napoli's still in it.
Napoli's still there, I'm pretty sure. Actually,
no, they didn't. No, they went through their group in the Champions League. They're playing Barcelona, so they weren't even. They're not even were they not still in it. They were never in it.
I'm not sure where I went with that one. I think I tried to compromise.
Listen to us. We're fucking experts, aren't we? Actually, Roma are still in it. That's how much I fucking knew.
All right, then.
Where are we? FA Cup winner. Tony has said Liverpool.
Yeah, I was wrong.
I have said Everton.
He was very wrong.
Everton.
Schwinn has said Liverpool. League Cup winners.
I know who I said here because I remember getting shit for it.
Spurs. That's who Tony said. I said...
Do you know what's crazy before you go on to yours? Like, we done these in August, and when the day Tottenham went out, which I don't know when it was, but it was at least a month after we've done these predictions, probably 2 months. Someone messaged me and was like, you said Tottenham would win it. I was like, how the fuck do you remember that? Like, a random prediction I done 2 months ago. Like, and so now I've remembered it since. That's how I know who I said before you started. But like, literally, someone was waiting there at home, waiting for me to be wrong, so they could message you, you're wrong. All right, I'm wrong about fucking everything.
He probably put it in his calendar. Message Tony on this day.
But do you know what I mean? Most Arsenal fans want Tottenham to lose because they're Tottenham. Whoever this was, I can't remember who it was, wanted them to lose, so I was wrong. Like,
I said Manchester City.
Yep.
And Schwinn said Wolves. There you go. First sacking. Tony said Ollie.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know
Ollie.
who it was.
That'd be the Watford manager, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, or
You don't know in the Premier
Southampton.
League.
Oh, fuck.
No, Southampton stayed. They didn't change.
Didn't they have a manager sacking early? Like
No, it was late last year. It was late last year, I think.
Fuck. There you go. It's just been so
Schwinn
long a year. Schwinn. Dean Smith.
Okay, so all three of ours are still in a job. Yep, we're good at this, aren't we?
Yeah. Golden Boot. Tony Aguero.
Yeah,
I said Aubameyang.
why
That's
not?
fucking close. Schwinn said Aubameyang. Player of the year, Tony said Sterling.
Sterling, yeah, because I think I originally had him for Golden Boot, and then I was like, actually, he'll be outscored, but then he'll be if he's close, he'll be in with a shout, and he fucking scored more than Aguero, I think, but obviously. I mean, the player of the year is ridiculous. If anyone fucking gets this, they need to be shot anyway. Like, you're a witch.
Yeah,
but fucking Jordan.
What I get?
You're close.
Did I just...
You're close. No, but
didn't
I mean,
he get it?
No.
Oh, he got the BBC one.
No, Jordan Henderson got it. That's what I'm saying. If anyone got this, they need to be drowned. They're a witch. Like, throw them off a cliff, put them on fire. Like, no one guessed that.
What'd Schwinn say?
If you fucking say Jordan Henderson now.
No, he said Silva. Bernardo.
Silva.
That's what you said.
To be fair, he was fantastic the year before and should have been in with a shout of it, to be fair.
That's probably why you said it. Young player of the year, Tony said Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He got it, didn't he?
I don't know.
Actually, to be fair, I'm not even sure if it's been given yet, but he's in the 6 names, I know that.
Okay, I said David Brooks.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. And Schwinn said Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's been given out yet, but he's definitely in the nominations.
Arsenal player of the year, Tony said Nick Pepe.
Did I?
Yep.
Fucking hell.
I said Aubameyang. And Schwinn said Leno.
Did I really? I don't believe this. I feel like Chaz is just moving these around.
I don't believe mine either. I don't feel like I would have said Pepe.
Yeah, I would have never said Leno. I'll have to go back and listen to
That's what you boys said. It was published on the Clock End Talk blog on the 19th of August, did I say? Or 12th of August. 12th of August.
I need to listen. I need to listen to that. I need to listen to this recording because I'm not having this. I feel like I would.
Oh, man, listen to you boys ripped off. Huh?
No, a lot of them I know I said, but I just feel like, especially me, who's the one every week saying Aubameyang should win every award. I just don't feel like I would have gone with anyone else.
You went Pepe.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gone for a team that's not even in a competition with Napoli. That just doesn't sound quite right. I'm still stuck on that one.
Arsenal breakthrough player of the year. Fucking Tony. Fuck. Joe Willock. That's what you come up with.
If we'd have done this, well, no one said Saka, so we can stop that nonsense there.
I said Martinelli. I know Schwinn said Martinelli.
Yeah, who did you say?
I said Kieran Tierney.
That's not a breakthrough. We signed him for 25 million. That's fucking bullshit. That doesn't count.
Hey, well, you let me have it on the podcast.
No, because you've made this up. None of us believe it. But if we would have reviewed these choices after 2 games, then Joe Willock was the right answer because he was really good against Newcastle, certainly. Basically, what we found out here is my crystal ball works for a couple of weeks.
When I'm in hospital.
No, first 2 games, Willock was amazing. So I was right. And then after that, my crystal ball malfunctioned. It lost signal.
Go on the shit.
But you can't claim Tierney. You can fuck right off.
Fuck off. I'm close.
You can't sign someone. You can't sign. Yeah, but you can't sign someone for £25 million and go, oh, it's a breakthrough. Like, the fuck is this? Like, Man United signed Cristiano Ronaldo for less. All broke through. Yeah, he's fucking Cristiano Ronaldo. Fuck off. I'll give Schwinn Martinelli.
The transfer winner, you said Arsenal last year?
I think we all did. Yeah.
I said Arsenal, and Schwinn said... Where is Schwinn? Oh, you're not going to believe what Schwinn said.
Tottenham.
Oh, no. Sorry, I've scrolled down to Craig. Fucking hell, Craig, you need your head read. Oh, poor old Craig said Watford. No, Schwinn didn't answer it. Schwinn said no, not answering it.
I think we was all debating between. I think we was all debating between Arsenal and Tottenham. To be fair,
Premier League underperformers.
I know who I said. I was wrong.
Tony said Wolves.
Yeah, I thought their squad was too small for the Europa League.
I said Bournemouth.
Did you?
No, I didn't make it. I didn't say an answer for some reason. And Schwinn didn't answer it either. I don't know why.
I actually think this wasn't a category, but I wanted it put in because I was so sure that Wolves would underperform.
That's why maybe you said it. Breakthrough. What else we got here? First, second, golden boot. Player of the year, young player of the year. Young player of the year, you said Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
You just said I said Trent Alexander-Arnold.
No. I must have fucked that up. No, that's what you said.
He's making these up as we go along.
You must be, because now you're just changing answers. No, that's not right.
I said Trent Alexander-Arnold. Schwinn said Trent Alexander-Arnold. So, yeah, no, I read yours wrong. I was reading mine when I said that.
So
sorry, buddy.
David Brooks? Was that Craig?
Hey?
So who said David Brooks? Was that Craig who said David Brooks?
But, yeah, I think it was Craig who said David Brooks.
I'm pretty sure.
I scrolled down too far. I'll just have a quick run through because we did get people to comment on this, so people who listeners as well. So I'll just run through quickly. Sandeep, he said Man City, top 4, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Man United, Chelsea, relegation, Southampton, Norwich, Bournemouth, Champions League winner, Juventus, runner-up Inter, Europa League, Arsenal, runner-up United, FA Cup winner, Arsenal, he said, so he picked that. League Cup winners, Manchester City.
He got 2 relegations and the League Cup. He's done well. If you're going to read people, skip the Champions League and Europa League because we don't know an answer yet, so we can't call people cunts.
Yeah, okay. He said first sacking Frank Lampard. Sandeep did.
He's done well. I mean, obviously that's terrible.
He has done well still. Aubameyang, Sterling, young player of the year. He said Joe Willock as well. So he's followed Tony's suit. And he's also said breakthrough player Willock as well.
Oh, sorry. He's gone for him for young player of the year. I didn't say that. That's a bold claim.
Young player of the year and breakthrough player of the year for Arsenal, he said.
Yeah.
Arsenal's player of the year, Aubameyang. Who else we got? Glenn's Man City, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea. There's your top 6. Relegation, Norwich, Brighton, Sheffield. First sacking, Steve Bruce. I tell you what, he had a good season considering, didn't he? Like they've had some fucking, golden boot, Aubameyang. Sorry, Steve Bruce, Newcastle. Yeah. Player of the year, Mo Salah. Young player of the year, Tillmans. Arsenal player of the year, Ozil. So yeah, that's a couple anyway. I'm just seeing if anything else sticks out.
Do you know, I know, like, obviously when we originally started doing this, I think 2 or 3 years ago, it was my idea to do them, and I love it because everyone talks like they're football experts, not only us on here, but on Twitter and in the group chats and whatnot. And then you look at these at the end of the year, and pretty much everyone's predictions are shit.
No.
It always makes me laugh.
I'm just looking to see if anybody else has come up with the player of the year. Now that you said Jordan, what?
You've got literally no chance.
Joe said Reece Nelson for player of the year. Oh, no, he said Sterling.
Player of the year?
No, sorry, Sterling. He said Reece Nelson for the young player of the year. Who's this? He said Dave's a special mention for the transfer winner. He's said Leicester City, special mention. Arsenal, but a special mention Leicester City. So, yeah, they had a good window last year, didn't they? A pretty good season, to be honest, Leicester City. That's about it, boys. In that side of it, Golden Boot, Dave said Harry Kane. First sacking, he said Graham Potter. That he reckoned, he said special mention, Ollie could be gone by Christmas. Wrong. He was on that one. Yeah. So that's it, boys. That's it. That's predictions done and dusted. So
we'll be doing
we're all
more
right
in a couple of weeks.
We'll do it all again next. Ready again. We're going to go to some questions. You can get them in at @cockend_talk. We've gone for an hour and 10 minutes, so we're going to wrap this on up really quickly, boys. Golson fan, if one of the keepers has to go to free up cash, which one, Tony?
Leno.
Schwinn?
We have to keep both, don't we? I mean,
Well, he wants one gone to free up cash. You got a gun to your head. You got to get rid of one.
I know.
Just let me change. Can I just change it to a better question then? Who's your number one first day of next season?
It's a fresh slate. I mean, it's the end of the season. It's a fresh slate.
So who's your number one on the first day of next season?
Just fucking fence to this cunt, isn't he? Real fair dinkum, he hasn't changed.
No, I mean, you can't answer that question. If I had to, I'd say Emmy, but I'm just...
Well, you do have to, because I'm asking the question.
Yeah, Emmy.
Righto. Hakon Larson. I'd say Leno.
What, to be your number one or to be sold?
To be number one.
I'd go Emmy.
Okay. We know how wrong you boys are. We're just saying it in the predictions. Hakon Larson.
Yeah, it's because of him bringing up these questions that we get all these predictions, and then we look back a year from on, and we're
fucking
completely wrong.
Yeah. Look like fucking idiots. Look at these cunts. Got no idea what they're waffling on about. People still listen, though. Coming to the end of the podcast, Tony's mic's fucking up. Hakon Larson. Yeah, I know, it's doing some weird shit. Hakon Larson, always liked Willian, but isn't he exactly what he should stay away from, and totally wrong business in the state of our club is right now? Look, we did speak about this when Nick called up. Tony, you want to add anything to it? You're a fan of Willian, or what's your thoughts on it? Tony's mic is completely gone now.
It's coming in and out.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, got you now, buddy.
Yeah, I like Willian as a player. The deal sounds terrible to me in terms of business sense. I mean, there's rumours now saying it's 120k a week, which is not too bad. I can live with that. I mean, the original rumours at 175k a week with a 3 year plus a year option were horrible to me. I don't mind. Someone taking a piss. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at 120k or so. I think 3 year plus an option's a bit long. obviously the reason he's rejecting Chelsea is because they're only offering 2 years. It's weird. 2 years is probably what I'd be comfortable with. 3 years is not too bad, and then with the option, you're protecting yourself, I guess. So I'm coming more as the wages get lower and lower that are reported. I'm coming more and more around to it. But it's not amazing.
Hakon Larsen, Guendouzi posting. I'm echoing now. Posting a holiday picture in the day after the final and didn't post any congratulations. He's really taking the piss. Hope we can get a decent fee for him. Schwinn, I have to agree, mate. It's pretty piss fucking weak, to be honest.
Yeah, it's left a very sour taste in my mouth as well. There's and now I'm right.
Yeah, you were a little bit.
How do we fix this?
I don't know. It's something to do with Tony's microphone, I'm sure of it.
Well, how can you cunts be echoey and it's my fault?
Because you're the only one who's not echoing, so it's obviously your fault.
Oh, yeah, so the one who's working fine is...
It done it last time towards the end of the podcast. It's like, no, fuck it.
If I'm echoing, blame me. If you're echoing, throw it off.
Yeah.
Shall I answer because you two are busy echoing all over the gaff? For me, it's just Are you fucking about with them sound effects again? They were pissing me off last week.
Go on.
Yeah, for me, it's just sad. Like, okay, he's got his grievances with the club, and you still should congratulate them, but the players should be his friends. So whether you've got a problem with the manager or the board or whoever it is, like, surely you're still happy, especially like he's always seemed to be close to Aubameyang. Like, your mate's just scored 2 goals as captain in a cup final, and you've not...
Completely lost him now.
He's gone, hasn't he?
He's gone. Yeah. I'm blaming his mic. As soon as his mic fucks up, we start echoing, he starts cutting out. It's a fucking mess. It's a fucking disaster.
Uh-oh.
That's all I can do.
That's why these things happen.
Buy a new mic, Tony.
I'm going to buy one. Fucking send over some money for him to get in and buy one. Fair thing.
Hear me?
Not really.
Oh, fuck knows.
No, you're cutting in and out. It's like, it sounds like you're pulling your mic in and out, like it's just not connecting properly.
Oh, fuck knows.
We'll try and continue, so if it clears up any better. Halls of Marble. Just mute it, Tony, and unmute it. See if that does it. Yeah, I don't know if that made any. Halls of Marble. Surely Leno can't just waltz back into the side. Kenny is Aubameyang up there with Wright and Henry as prime Arsenal legend strikers. He did something that neither did. Score cup winners as the captain. What a fucking nightmare this is. I'm happy to wrap this up, boys, because I can't continue like this.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Yeah, we have to wrap it up. We might come back. Look, I'll keep this question thread for later down the track, but we can't record like this. This is fucking ridiculous. Now I'm not echoing. This is the last time I'm using this cunt of an app too, by the way.
Can I just say it's not me, because I was muted the whole time you was just moaning, and I can hear the echo.
It's fucked. Okay, let's wrap it up. I'll catch you boys next week or something, though. we'll answer these questions and go through it. We might jump on Tony or something later down the track. Who knows? And might even try tomorrow if you're not doing nothing and fucking see if we can answer some questions, or we'll talk some transfers or something next week as well.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Righto. Thank you everyone for listening, and good night. Fuck this. See you, boys.
Ciao.